In the town of old Kenosha marched some troubled rogues one day. Held hammers high above their heads and looking for a fray. No one dared to ask their business, no one dared to make a din, save for one young man among them with an AR on a sling. AR on a sling. In this town there were some outlaws bound to teachings of the red. Many soy boys were among them, as were trannies overfed. They were vicious, prone to violence, burning gas stations and more. And the leader rode a skateboard, rolling swiftly on the floor. Swiftly on the floor. Now a young man started talking, made it plain to folks around. He was there to stop the mob from burning businesses to ground. Didn't look like much, the tough guy, except for one important thing. And the thing, of course, an AR riding taught me honestly. Taught me honestly. Now the night was passing quickly as the mob moved wielding flame. And the youth pulled out to halt them as they spotted him as game. He was running down the pavement when a loud caused him to trip and tempted the soy leader with the skateboard on his hip. Skateboard on his hip. It was over in a moment as the folks had gathered round. The skater sought the rifle as the youth lay on the ground. Oh, he might have went on living, but forgot one major thing. And he fell down shot dead by the kid with an AR on his sleeve. AR on his sleeve. AR, AR. He fell down shot dead by the kid with an AR. AR on his sleeve.
Good morning and welcome to the Red and Ed Show, where it's always morning, even in the afternoon. I am your host, Jay Edgar, and with a little bit of an extended intro up of this, but definitely fitting and definitely entertaining here, we are back. Jury duty got delayed, so I get to be here this week with you guys, as always, here with the wonderful CWal, who joined me up last minute to come back and talk about the events of this week, including the most important ones that we're going to be talking about here. So, welcome, CWal.
Please, they'll never select you for jury. You're going to drop the words jury nullification, and even the defense will want you gone.
Well, yeah, but I still have to show up there on the Monday.
True.
I have to show up for the interview so I can say jury nullification.
Yep.
So, anyway, welcome to the Red and Ed Show, and man, it has been it's been quite the week, that's for sure. Here, I counted, I had well over 300 articles sitting here waiting to organize when I started organizing last night. It was quite insane, absolutely.
What is this? A The Porch Boys podcast?
Yeah, I know. I look at some of your top beats over on your screen. I'm like, this looks like contemporary on a Monday. When they try to cram all kinds of shit in over the weekend here. But we do have quite a bit to talk about. And thank you to whoever put that nice musical piece together there. I can share that over with you if you want to use that tomorrow. Definitely. I had heard some like the banjo one that you played for the Friday stream, but I hadn't heard that one yet, and it was great. I loved it.
Oh yeah, I actually went in and made a little custom thing. Took the video of the reading of Rittenhouse, and damn it, I know all of you fucking teared up when you watched that. All you fucking teared up for that kid.
Yeah, that was one of those I'm not crying, you're crying kinds of moments, definitely.
Yeah,
but we have got to get into it because we are going to spend a lot of time talking about a lot of stuff today, and unfortunately, we are not going to be leading with the Rittenhouse case today because in my home state, something else happened, which may actually be in relationship to this. So we're going to start talking about the Christmas parade that happened in Waukesha over the weekend and the tragedy that went along with that, and some of the other information that we've learned thus far about this, and, well, some of the other stuff that we may be speculating on as well. So we'll talk a bit about that. As mentioned in the top of the show and in the title soundtrack as well, Rittenhouse has been found and not guilty. So we'll watch the video, we'll see what happened there, and we will talk about some of the lead up to this, some of the aftermath of this. There were no real riots in Kenosha this weekend, so I was very surprised and very happy about that, because once I heard the not guilty, that was the first thing that I thought was going to happen here, but, everything seemed to be peaceful. There are demonstrations, but they were peaceful.
Fiery, but mostly peaceful.
Not even fiery, but still peaceful. We'll talk just a bit about that. Getting back into the regular politics news, the infrastructure bill has passed and has been signed. So we will see some of the stuff that's been happening there. But oddly enough, this hasn't been something where we've started to see the Dow go up like we thought it was going to go. In fact, it did go up a little bit today, but not very much. It sank back almost to the previous close. And, well, it dropped 1,000 points over the week after the infrastructure bill was signed. So we'll talk just a bit about that and what's going on with that. What would normally be a small side story, the Gosar story, blew up very, very bigly as Gosar was taken in it for a vote for censure. So we'll talk just a bit about that and some of the stuff that went along with that, including Lauren Boebert doing some nice shooting, taking 3 targets at once in a 1-minute speech. We'll listen to that. We'll talk just a bit about that going on here. Plus some COVID stuff, including Disney requiring vaccines for their cruises, and some other people starting to say follow the money off of this. We'll talk about this. Plus I got a double dose of surprise stupidity for you. 2 of them. You're going to love both of these too. It's going to be great.
Jay?
What's that?
You see this rifle I'm holding?
Yes.
It isn't Full Metal Jacket in there. It's armor-piercing Total Metal Jacket.
Full Metal Jacket.
Careful with that surprise stupidity.
You put Full Metal Jacket in your AR-15. Do you realize what that could do to a person?
Yes, it stops the threat.
But it's going to be all this and more over on the Red Net Show. Thanks for checking us live over on YouTube, DLive, Twitch. We're on Twitter as well, and my Facebook page. Go check out any of those. You can find those all linked in the YouTube description and the DLive description as well. You can go find all of those. Or if you can't catch us live, you can catch us back on demand over on YouTube, over on BitChute.com. You can catch us back on the audio platforms, iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and more. Go check us out in any of those places. And make sure you subscribe in all the places that you can go and check us out. And make sure you guys go check out TurnSomePagesProductions.com, where you can find such great shows as The Porch Boys, The Daily Ignoramus, The Breakdown with Birkenhoff, The Already Conservative, and The Freckles and Brit Show. Great places where you can find all of those programs. And just a reminder that DLive has been wonky all day, so we are streaming to DLive, but your chat is not going to go in with everybody else's chat right now. I will go and check that between topics, of course, and I'll check that separately, but yeah, just keep in mind, or go hang out over on the Twitch side or on the YouTube side as well. You can go check out both of those platforms. You can go check us out there. All right. So first, I want to thank you for coming in at the last minute here because of all the jury duty confusion that went along with this. And I got the email that said, no, you don't have to report for jury duty until after the holidays. So come back in for that. But why don't you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Oh, howdy. I'm a CWal 728. I'm a 1/3 of the Porch Boys podcast and former professional lurker. I'm a little bit more noticeable now due to doing that, doing that little podcast. I also provide just general technical support to those within the Turn Some Pages who need it from time to time, if they reach out.
Huh?
And other than that, I live in Texas, San Antonio. That's much you'll get. And later December, I'll be hanging out with Quest Fanning in San Antonio, Texas, by the way. So yeah, I'm just returning guest. If you guys don't know who I am, but you'll soon find out, I guess. Also, I got a new hat.
It is a nice hat. Still nice and crisp and clean.
Yes.
You're all ready to go pretend to be a Trump supporter. or a fascist kind of person at a Democrat rally.
Wait. I need to pretend to be that?
I'm just making a joke. Like, you saw at the Young, what was it? Yeah, the Youngkin rally where the person with the Confederate flag on the back was like brand new patch on the back of the denim jacket.
Yeah, like you could see. I swear I saw a version where someone was actually stitching it onto his jacket right before they went live, and you kept seeing the guy constantly go back as people filtered in. It's almost like he was trying to be seen.
Could you bump up volume a little bit on your end? Looks like they're saying you're a little bit low.
Let me check. How's that? Turn up the gain a little bit.
Yeah, looks like you're hitting right where I want you to be. All right, perfect.
Got it. I upped the gain a little bit, so it should help. Might pick a bit more ambient, but I mean, we don't have CNN. We don't have CNN budget.
Well,
yet we have better production
but the rest
values.
of us don't. Exactly. All right. Let's get into some of the news of the day here. First, we're going to do a little bit of a lightning round here and talk about some of the stuff that's catch up from previous stories or stuff that didn't quite fit in any of the rest of the stuff here. This one, actually, I would have put in with the Rittenhouse thing, but I thought we could talk about it on its own here because, we've heard all week that this was all about white supremacy and only white supremacists get self-defense charges. Well, I guess that's not exactly true. Reading from WPBF 25 ABC out of... it doesn't really say where it's out of here.
man accused and charged with shooting a
deputy.
deputy.
Going. Reading out of here, Andrew Coffey was found not guilty on all counts of murder and attempted first-degree murder on Friday. Coffey is accused of firing at Indian River County Sheriff's deputies during an early morning drug raid at his home back in 2017. His girlfriend, Alteria Woods, was caught in the crossfire, shot 10 times, and later died. Coffey was charged with the murder of Woods after a grand jury exonerated 2 law enforcement officers for her death. Before the case went to the jury's hand, Coffey took the stand to defend himself, blaming deputies for his girlfriend's death. The defense said Coffey was asleep and thought the flashbang was gunfire, so he fired his gun because he thought he was under attack. Apparently, the prosecutor said the deputies did announce that they were there. That is up in question right now. He is still guilty on the possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, which could carry a penalty up to 30 years. I don't know that they're going to throw the book at him, but they might because, he won against the state, but...
Yeah. Well, also, convicted felon with a gun.
Yeah.
I mean, I would only do jury nullification myself if he was post probation. But if he's still on probation, that means you're still, under the thumb of the punishment of the state for violating another law.
Yeah.
And if you're still in probation, I'm sorry, I have to give you the 30 years, man.
So, well, luckily the jury doesn't get the sentencing decision. That comes down from the judge, but...
Who will probably go for 10 to 15, maybe up to 20 or 30, if he wants to, put the screws to him.
I was thinking 5, but regardless, we'll see what happens with that and where that goes.
Yeah.
Our wonderful houseplant in chief has been in the news a few times this week, including this, where Kamala Harris has become the first female to ever hold the presidential power. From Yahoo News, Biden briefly transfers power to Harris, making her the first woman in U.S. history to hold powers of the presidency.
Didn't the Dow drop by 1,000 points and Rittenhouse was declared not guilty on all charges at the same time?
Well, the Dow dropping by 1,000, that took an entire week to do, but it dropped. President Biden briefly transferred power of the presidency to the Vice President, Harris, on Friday morning as he underwent a routine physical. The White House announced that Biden, 78, would be undergoing anesthesia to receive a colonoscopy at a Walter Reed National Military Medical Center, making Harris the first woman to hold the powers of the presidency. That's it. That's all that I have on that. She's the first woman, don't you know? She's the first woman to be president.
Well, also, Biden got 2 colonoscopies that day. One from Walter Reed and one from Rittenhouse.
Yeah, that's absolutely true off of there. And, I mean, I don't know why he had to go under anesthesia after for that, too, because, I mean, they consistently have their hand up his ass to use him as a puppet, which is what they're using for anyway.
You think he'd be used to it by now?
Exactly. From the Daily Wire on the same topic here, Biden's physical reveals multiple health issues, but does not appear to have gotten the cognitive test, according to reports. Democrat President Biden completed his first physical exam as president last week, which revealed that he suffers from multiple health issues and did not appear to have undergone cognitive testing. The two health issues that O'Connor noted off of this: the president has experienced increasingly frequency and severity of throat clearing and coughing during speaking engagements. He has exhibited such symptoms for as long as I have known him, but they certainly seem to be more frequent and more pronounced over the last few months. It is acknowledged that this perception may be artificially confounded by the undeniable fact that as president, a much greater attention is directed toward his public engagement as compared to that which he experienced in previous positions. Number two, the president's ambulatory gait is perceptibly stiffer and less fluid than it was a year or so ago. He has several reasonable explanations for this in his orthopedic history. But it does not appear that he did go under a cognitive test.
Hold on. Ambulatory gait behavior in patients with dementia. First thing that popped up when I Googled ambulatory gait.
Well, it might just be because of his arthritis.
True. Well, but
that's what
also
that's what O'Connor said.
Yeah. Well, also with the whole coughing, clearing throat, have people making sure Kamala isn't in the kitchen when they're cooking Biden's food?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I'm not on the White House staff, and I have no desire to ever step into the White House. In fact,
come on, when I take over, I'm going to have you visit all the time.
It gave me kind of a warm and fuzzy feeling inside when I played Fallout 3 and saw that the White House was a glowing crater.
That's going to get clipped pretty quickly.
That happens. Well, we had so much bad stuff to go over here. I thought we could have a little bit of fun in the intro here. So here's a guy doing an impersonation of Jordan Peterson talking about Pokemon.
As your life progresses, over time, it is your moral obligation to continue to evolve. For example, let's say you're a Squirtle, and you keep doing things that make you look weak. It's like all you can do is tail whip and tackle, and that's not good. And then you come face to face with a Gyarados and get decimated. So, you have to rise up the competence hierarchy and fast. Well, it's like, well, how do you do that? It's a good question. You sacrifice hundreds and hundreds of Caterpie and Metapod until you transform into the Blastoise.
Well,
I found that entertaining.
That's getting stolen by the Porch Boys real quick. Right in the funny video.
You don't have to steal it. I'll just give it to you. It's in the document.
So it's no longer your funny video. It's our funny video.
Comrade.
Isn't it right, comrade?
All right, let's keep going here. Here's an interesting one. As the Fed contemplates a move, Democrat states lag furthest in jobs recovery. This is from Reuters. Hopes to restore U.S. employment to its pre-pandemic level, an aim of the Federal Reserve and the Biden admin, now rests on recovery of jobs in New England and California, a potentially troubling fact for the president's Democratic Party ahead of a critical midterm election as the Fed plots a possible turn to tighter monetary policy. Data released on Friday show that through October, employment in states with Republican governors was close to 99% of what it was in February of 2020, while the Democrat-led states lagged at roughly 96%. Now, the Reuters article goes on to try and say, well, a lot of this is they don't have the employment rate because there are more people in some of these red states, so they're not up at the employment rate they were. But if the blue states are still lagging behind, even though people are fleeing them, you've got a bigger problem coming up here. But what's your take off this?
Oh yeah, exactly. I mean, they're trying to claim, Texas is, not, well, I'm looking at it right. Yeah. Sorry, I'm looking at it right now. They're still just trying to recover. Yeah, Texas is basically almost exactly where it was. Florida's ahead where it was. I mean, Jesus Christ, Utah has just exploded on this map way down. But it's just not surprising at the end of the day, to be honest.
Right.
The thing is, those states are still locking down. They're doing the most vaccine requirement stuff. Whereas if you look at Texas, there's literally, I think, a governor's order saying no mandates are allowed at any business. And at the same time, they are I think the legislators actually also going down that road as well. Just so basically they're going to enshrine. Basically, they're kind of doing a partial reversal of how it should be done. But you also need emergency relief because this mandate is pretty bad, and then you combine that with the whole Fifth Circuit, I think, which is out of your guys' neck of the woods. Can't remember where the Fifth Circuit covers, but yeah, the Fifth Circuit basically just said, "Yeah, no, Biden, you're wrong. Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, we'll be talking a bit about that too. This one here, this is just, I don't really take into a credit anything, but this is like the biggest Republican campaign ad right here. Reading from NBC, Think, Opinion, Analysis, and Essays, Schools Face Parents Who Want to Ban Critical Race Theory and Don't Get How Teaching Works. So this is from Christina Wyman, who is a teacher's teacher, so she teaches teachers how to teach. And she's basically saying just what Terry McAuliffe said. No, parents do not have any place in the classroom.
Who pays your salary?
The state.
Who gives the state money and elects the state?
The state makes their own money, man. Parents and politicians across the country are interfering with the curricula that public schools use to teach students. State legislatures are passing laws to keep critical race theory out of school. Literary classics like Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye are banned for sexual content. And school libraries are coming under attack for containing books about gender. There are even parents who are trying to shield students from learning about mental health and suicide, as though helping children build emotional fortitude is a bad thing. While the political climate and national involvement in school districts give the phenomenon a broader platform and have more serious ramifications, this behavior is nothing new. Parents have always tried to interfere with the curricula, as I observed while teaching middle school in the mid-2000s. Even then, there was no shortage of parental input about the content of my instruction, from books to test questions. Part of the problem is parents think that they have the right to control teaching and learning because their children are the ones being educated. But actually, doesn't work that way. It's sort of like entering a surgical unit, thinking that you can interfere with the operation simply because the patient is your child.
Actually, yes. I think in a lot of states, parents are the end-all be-all of if a kid gets a medical procedure or not.
And as was pointed out in the live chat this morning, you also chose to bring your kid in to get that medical procedure.
The only time that's not the case is, terrible fucking accident. The parents can't be contacted and it's life or fucking death for the kid. But we're talking, very specific circumstances.
Yeah. So, I mean, if anybody in a swing district and not a solidly blue district wants to run for GOP, and hell, even if the people who are in solidly blue districts want to run, I would just take this article, clip this last paragraph out here, and put it on a campaign sign.
Well, also the thing is they're trying to claim, reading books about mental health and suicide, that will build emotional fortitude. It isn't.
Yeah.
You know how weak modern kids are?
Yes,
Look,
yes,
I'll
I do.
freely admit, when I was socially awkward in middle and in schooling, and I was bullied. And guess what? You see me now, I get a bit angry and heated at times, but do you think I don't have emotional fortitude?
Well, the other side of that, too, is they're talking about the parents now, the Republican parents are the real Bray Bradbury. They're going and burning the books. No, they just don't want them in the library. That's state taxpayer funded.
Yeah, that they paid for.
Mm-hmm. But the books are still widely available.
Yeah. They just say, we don't want them in this one particular building. Mm-hmm. You can have them anywhere else. Just not here. Why are you burning books? While they're burning conservative books and asking to be banned off of Amazon so they can't be viewed by anyone.
Right.
And contacting publishers saying that you'll never buy books again from that publisher unless you break a contract with certain authors.
Mm-hmm. Like Peterson.
Yes.
Well, you sit there and you do the tail whips, and they're completely useless, and then you get decimated.
God. Stop using my weebery against me.
Well, you got to shift gears into something that's pretty shitty, actually, here. So I think we've all seen this video. Warning, this is very graphic. Zach Stacy beating his girlfriend in front of their 5-year-old.
Listen, things are way different now. Back, please. Listen.
You think that was okay? Go.
Now I do not. Please.
You thought that was okay? And then you're going to ruin relationships and talking about I'm destructive?
Listen.
Fucking bitch.
God, please.
I love you, Coops.
Oh my God. Listen.
As of current right now, Oakland authorities are on a nationwide manhunt for this particular former NFL running back for, well, obvious reasons.
I mean, there's a joke I could make here, but we would very quickly get kicked off the tubes.
Yeah, let's not do that.
I'll tell it to you after. Yeah.
It's appalling. I mean, I understand at some point where if you would have to defend yourself against a woman, that's not what's happening here. This is a solid wall of muscle throwing haymakers like he's going after somebody twice his fucking size.
Yeah. Look, there's a difference between in a highly stressful, it's right before Christmas dinner, you're dealing with the in-laws, everyone's been screaming at you all day, you have a moment where you explode and you shove your significant other. Mm-hmm. That occurs, it's shitty, but the vast majority deal with it by going, hey, we were having a therapy. They go to therapy. Mm-hmm. This guy should be facing the firing squad.
Yeah.
The only unfortunate thing is he's already passed on his genes.
I am a little bit curious, and I hope to God the kid was not in the pack and play with that either, because, I mean, she landed on the third video, she landed right on that thing. So I don't know if the kid got hurt or if the kid was somewhere else, but...
I based on the sound, I'm thinking the kid was somewhere else. Okay. Probably in a crib off to the side.
Okay.
But yeah, look, this guy's going away for years.
Yeah,
Any money he had, she's getting, period. This plays well at a divorce court. Not only that, but he's going to be going to divorce court wearing fucking orange jumpsuit with chains.
Probably.
Yeah. Well, no, they're not married, actually.
No,
ex-girlfriend.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. That's more boxes ticked in certain joke category. But she could sue the fuck out of him, basically.
Let's see. A passenger's weapon accidentally discharged at the Atlanta airport, causing panic and halting flights. This comes to us from CNN. The accidental discharge of a passenger's weapon in the security area of Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport caused widespread panic Saturday afternoon, prompting a brief halt of departing flights over the busy travel weekend. The incident occurred at 1:30 p.m. Eastern when a prohibited item was detected in a passenger's property while going through the X-ray. Robert Spindon, the Transportation Secretary Administration's Federal Security Director for Georgia, said in a news conference, the property was flagged for a secondary search, he said. During the secondary search, the passenger lunged into his property, grabbing a firearm that was located inside, which he ultimately discharged. The passenger then fled the security checkpoint through an adjacent exit lane with the firearm. So, one shot, they're saying accidental off of this, but he got through an emergency exit. They say this is the busiest airport in the country.
Look, this is idiot with a gun. That's what this is. Idiot with a gun.
I don't know what he was expecting to do and why it was in his carry-on.
Well, also, apparently there were people trying to claim, Georgia has this law where you can take guns into the airport. Last I checked, you could only take it into the non-secured areas.
Yeah, exactly. Which, I mean, I've had guns in an airport before, but they were in the checked luggage. The stuff that went into the belly of the plane. They definitely weren't going into the carry-on.
Oh, yeah. There's a funny story from a guy I went to middle and high school with. I'm not going to say his name, obviously, just so I don't get identified. But he told a story about him and his dad were up in Alaska, and his dad, while they were doing hunting, and in Alaska, it's generally recommended to have a sidearm in case your main weapon jams or you get surprised, just in case. And he put it in his bag. He forgot it in his bag. It went, and this was the carry-on. It went through the scanner. Apparently, a TSA agent screamed "gun," and he got tackled.
Oof. But he didn't lunge for it like this idiot did.
No. Well, the thing is, the TSA guys tackled him before.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, knowing him, I don't think I've ever met his dad, but knowing him, his dad would like, I think he told the story like his dad would have been like, "Oh fuck, I'm so sorry," kind of thing. And they got it squared away. They found his checked bag. He put it in there, and they moved on with their day. And the TSA said, "Look, man, don't be more careful next time," because they were embarrassed because they just tackled some guy with his kids,
right,
in front of a bunch of Alaskan hunters.
Yeah.
So
here's one for you. Your new governor. That's his face up on the screen. O'Rourke announces bid to take on Greg Abbott in 2022 Texas gubernatorial race.
You mean Greg Abbott, who's pretty popular last I checked?
And Beto O'Rourke, who's not. Beto O'Rourke, former congressman and 2020 Democratic presidential candidate, on Monday launched his campaign to unseat Texas Governor Greg Abbott in 2022. "I'm running for governor, bruh," he tweeted alongside a video announcement. "Together, we can push past the small and divisive politics that we see in Texas today and get back to the big, bold vision that used to define Texas. A Texas that's big enough for all of us, bruh." And then he rode out on a skateboard and shredded on a guitar.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to claim that he has higher disapproval than approval, but I'm highly fucking doubting that. Economy's doing great in the state. Crime's pretty much down. And Greg Abbott he's leading by 9 points. And that was early in November in a theoretical poll against Beto.
Well, what do you think his chances are?
Slim to none.
Nice. Speaking of which, a Texas state lawmaker leaves the Democrat Party for the GOP. Reading from The Hill. Texas State Rep Ryan Willen announced on Monday that he's departing the Democratic Party to join the GOP. "After much consideration and prayer with family, I feel that my fiscally conservative, pro-business, and pro-life values are no longer in step with the Democrat Party of today, and I'm officially running as a Republican to represent House District 31, Galen said in a statement, according to the Texas Tribune. The state lawmaker, who was first elected to the Texas House in 2002, made the move official during an in-person announcement on Monday morning alongside Greg Abbott and the Texas House Speaker Dade Phelan. So it looks like he doesn't think, it looks like that he was already in a fairly conservative district. I don't think this is going to hurt his chances anything, but...
It'll probably help his chances of anything if it's a conservative district.
Yeah.
Just because, the the national Democrat agenda is being forced on the state level. Because you remember back in the day, that you could have a split between the two.
Right.
And now you can't. The Democrat national is trying to force itself at every level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just making the Democrats unelectable nationwide. There's a lot of blackpilling, people saying, the Democrats are going to cheat their way to victory. And then look at Virginia. There was some honking there, and it still didn't work.
When you can't honk enough. So we will see what happens with him and his journey. But you know who isn't recognized by her state chair? Wyoming GOP votes to stop recognizing Cheney as a Republican. This comes to us from the Associated Press. The Wyoming Republican Party will no longer recognize Liz Cheney as a member of the GOP in its second formal rebuke of her criticism of the former president. The 31-29 vote Saturday in Buffalo by the state party's Central Committee follows votes by local GOP officials in about a third of Wyoming's 23 counties to no longer recognize Cheney as a Republican. So my next question there is, after she gets booted out of her seat in the next primary, does she go and run as a Republican in another state, or does she go run as a Democrat in another state?
I don't think the Democrats would take her.
They seem pretty fond of her on the House committee for January 6th.
Well, they're trying to use that as claim, oh, we're bipartisan, even though she's literally being thrown out of the party.
But she's the staunchest, most Republican person we know. Better than those evil populists.
How about this? Why do you put major MTG on there? Put her on there. Then we'll talk.
That would go against their agenda of her not having committees, and we'll talk about that with Gosar a little bit later in the show.
It's gonna be funny when the Republicans regain control of the House. They just don't give Democrats committee assignments. Yeah, no committee assignments. Have a nice day.
The U.S. says that it won't tolerate Russia's reckless and dangerous anti-satellite missile test. This comes to us from CNN. The U.S. strongly condemned Russia's anti-missile test on Monday, or anti-satellite test rather on Monday, that forced crew members on the International Space Station to scramble into spacecraft for safety, calling it a reckless and dangerous act, saying it wouldn't tolerate behavior that puts international interests at risk. Space Command said Russia tested a direct descent anti-satellite, or DASAT, missile striking a Russian satellite and creating a debris field in low Earth orbit of more than 1,500 pieces of trackable orbital debris that is also likely to generate hundreds of thousands of pieces of smaller orbital debris. So it looks like they shot down one of their own satellites, made a lot of debris, and made a lot of noise.
Okay, U.S., what are you going to do about it? Either shit or get off the pot. What are you going to do? Sanction them? They're already sanctioned. Hell, last I checked, Trump sanctioned them harder than you did. And he actually got them to calm down a little bit.
Well, I guess we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll wait until they steal another election.
Yes, of course.
House Republicans released whistleblower docs that revealed the FBI did use counterterrorism tactics at behest of Woke National School Board to investigate parents complaining about CRT and accuse Merrick Garland of lying to Congress.
Oh,
a story that got quickly shoved aside by the Rittenhouse coverage.
Of course it did.
An FBI whistleblower provided an email dated October 20th to House Republicans sent on behalf of the Counterterrorism Division and the Criminal Division. The email referenced AG Garland's October 4th directive to the FBI to ramp up its involvement in school board threats and notified agents of a new tag, EDU officials to assign to any threats against school administrators, board members, staff, or teachers to determine the scope of the problem on a national level and provide a comprehensive analysis of the threat picture. So they're literally using terrorism tools.
Yeah, because the thing is, they don't have any other moves. The FBI is laughably ineffective at dealing with actual crime. I mean, for God's sakes, how long did Epstein get to operate?
I don't know, but he didn't kill himself.
Oh, of course not.
Another one from Reuters here for you. Republicans move to decriminalize marijuana at the federal level.
Good, do it.
Yeah,
tax the shit out of it. Tax the shit out of it.
That's an argument for another day, but yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a last-ditch move, too, to go into the midterms, and because you know it's not going to pass because the Republicans did it.
Well, exactly, and it also makes the Democrats anti-weed now. It's a brilliant move. It's not even a last-ditch move. It's just a brilliant move. Because now the Democrats can't do it because the Republicans say, hey, we put a bill on there. Why don't you join with us? And if the Democrats try to do their own bill later on, it's easy to see through it like we literally were doing that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think there's enough Democrats in the Senate that would support it anyway because they like the DEA too much.
Yeah, that's true. Some tech news for you. Ford and GM are getting into chip development to help deal with the shortage. So,
ooh, nice. They're partnering with TSMC. Smart move on their part. If I remember right, there's 2 new factories. I think one of them is owned by TSMC that are going up in the U.S. Mm-hmm. And that should help out quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like Ford is partnering with TSMC and GM is partnering with Qualcomm to come together and start pushing chips through on the American side, which also, I would hope, opens up new jobs for Americans. So, good on them.
This is extremely complex work as well. So it's, or more specifically, it's very high training standards. Mm-hmm. So this isn't something you can just ship into China. There's a reason why Taiwan has it and China doesn't. It's an exceptionally complex process. Well, we're talking about, making shit at the nanometer level here, and it's got to be near perfect.
Yeah. So we'll see if that relieves some of the prices for computers, for trucks, for cars, and get some of the stuff back up.
Expect to see it in about 5 years, to be honest. It just takes that long to make those clean rooms.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Remember when Elon Musk said, if you give me a plan for how to end world hunger, I will sell 10% of my stock right now.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the UN did so, but they moved the goalposts. The director of the UN's World Food Program laid out a plan to spend $6.6 billion to combat world hunger, not end world hunger, combat world hunger. In direct response to the back and forth with Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who claimed that he would sell Tesla stock to fund a plan if the WFP could describe exactly how it would work. David Beasley, the UN Food Program Director and former Republican governor of South Carolina, tweeted a link on Monday to a 1,000-word executive summary. It maps out how the UN would deploy $6.6 billion worth of meals and vouchers to feed more than 40 million people across 43 countries that are on the brink of famine, thereby averting what the WFP is calling a looming catastrophe. For how long?
For a very brief period of time. Look, I'm in the camp of let nature take its course, see who survives.
But that's not compassionate.
If you can't feed them, don't breed them.
Yeah.
That's what happens in the animal kingdom. If animals overpopulate, they overeat, they die off, and it restabilizes. Acting like we've broken beyond, broken beyond, and we're above carrying capacities, wrong. All technology has done is multiplied how much a region can carry. It hasn't made it limitless.
All right. And the last one that I have for you here, before we get in, we'll check some live chat and we'll do the main news of the day. Governor's last-minute reprieve spares Oklahoma death row inmate. This was another one that was getting talked about in the midst of the Rittenhouse thing because it was, well, this guy's about to be put to death. Well, they're about to let a white supremacist walk free. From Reuters, Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt on Thursday halted the high-profile execution of death row inmate Julius Jones hours before he was scheduled to die for a 22-year-old murder in which doubts about his guilt have been raised. The governor's 11th hour reprieve followed the clemency recommendation of the Oklahoma Pardon and Parole Board, which voted 3-1 on November 1st that Jones's sentence should be commuted to life in prison. After prayerful consideration and reviewing materials presented by all sides of this case, I've determined to commute Julius Jones's sentence to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, Stitt said in a statement.
I mean, has new evidence come out that he didn't do it?
I don't know.
Because all I'm hearing is he claimed he didn't do it. The murder weapon was found in I think either his house or a house he frequented. It was wrapped in a bandana he was spotted with. The weapon had his DNA and fingerprints all over it. And the witness, while not the most reliable, did identify him from what I understand. Not well, but did identify him. So at a certain point, buddy, can you admit that you're a fucking scumbag and deserve to die?
Well, he'll be in prison for the rest of his life instead, but...
Oh, and the thing is, that he's got that, he's going to start bragging at some point.
Yeah.
He's not that bright. Maybe he'll take a shiv. Who knows?
Maybe. All right, let's check in with some live chat here, see what these guys are saying.
Yep.
A lot of stuff going on over here. Breakdown with Birkenhoff is here. Quest Fanning is here. Highleaf is here with the half track with the MG42 machine guns.
Yep, he's in anti-riot mode right now.
Yamafago says, great song.
Good old John.
AR on a sling. Quest says, Highleaf and CWal making us secure. KDZ is here. At least didn't have the exploding ammo.
God, I wanted to fucking jump through the screen and strangle Binger when he said that. Because there is such thing as exploding ammo.
Mr. Z is here.
Devastating.
Mr. Z is here. Boulder Vaughn is here. What's going on here? A lot of stuff here. Boulder Vaughn says, CWal, pump up that volume, which it sounds like you got that taken care of.
Yep.
Quest says, I'll never say CWal's government name, not Edgar's. Let's see. Quest says, can we stop making a big deal about milestones and trailblazers? Enough is enough. Can we celebrate actual accomplishments? Quest says, anyone see the parody of Evanescence with Peterson's Clean Your Room? I have not.
Clean your room. I'm based Canadian Kermit the Frog.
Quest says, chumps pay taxes. Katie Z says, no men going to dinner together. Katie Z says, this is why everyone should homeschool. Yeah, that's what I said too when I first read that article, that think piece. Yeah, just get your kids out of these schools.
Well, looks like we were linked to that Jordan Peterson Clean Your Room thing. I'll give you a link later.
Highleaf says, this guy deserves my quad MG42 for this.
I think he's referencing the guy who beat up his girlfriend.
Yeah, Life to the Max is here, said that was intense. And hello, hi Life to the Max. Mr. Z says, you don't lay hands on others like that. A man does not lay his hands on a female like that. Katie Z says, Atlanta TSA is retarded, and I know that she travels for work, so I'm not surprised by that.
Well, I mean, the first thing you do if you see a fucking gun in there, you make sure it's nowhere in reach when you're doing the secondary inspection.
Blippity Blop is here. Welcome in, Blippity Blop.
Yeah, Blip, my old boy from the old podcast.
Katie Z says, can we just agree to change the word gubernatorial to governatorial?
Yeah.
Shilog in 1984 says, or can we agree that Beto is a mix of pedo and beta? Life to the Max says, when Arnold was in office, it was the gubernatorial candidate. Mr. Z said, will not open up jobs for Americans. It will only be for the undocumented friends of the administration. John says, imagine for being for taxation. Cringe. Katie Z says, Julius Jones
free
is
weed
guilty.
or taxation. You either have legal access to weed or taxation. Make your choice.
Blip says, I don't think for a minute that Binger's approach was bumbling. Prosecutors don't do that unless they're deliberately trying to feed a specific outcome. He wanted civil war/riots.
I think he was trying to feed a narrative.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
All right. We have got to start with something that happened not too far away from here. And we're going to play a video first before we get into some of the details of this. And as I said before when we watched the dude beating up, this first video we're going to see is extremely graphic. This actually broke me a little bit this morning when I watched it for the first time. So let's get it up on the screen and let's see it. When the car bounces, that got to me because you know that somebody was under there who's probably not going to walk away from that.
Yeah.
This, of course, was the video that happened with the SUV. I don't want to say accident, but I know that's what people immediately call it, the SUV collision that went through Christmas parade in Waukesha, which is like 35 miles over there. Straight east of here.
Bro, get out of that state. It's a lost cause. There's no saving it. Come down to Texas.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on. What's in the water in southeast Wisconsin? Because, the Rittenhouse thing, the Jacob Blake thing, and then this, not that far away from here. Just want to read briefly from the Journal Sentinel. A person plowed their SUV through the Waukesha Christmas parade, and more than 20 people are injured, with some fatalities, authorities say. Figure was not released as of this morning. It has been released as up to 5 at this point. It looks like there were children that were involved with this. It looks like this went through youth dance team. A father was going through pulling up bodies to make sure that it wasn't his daughter. So he had to hold all the bodies that he touched before he found his family, who was safe. But the Waukesha Extreme Dance Team thanked those who checked on the safety. It looks like they were not involved, but it does look like the Milwaukee Dancing Grannies was involved with this. Members range in age from the early 50s to mid 70s. The only requirement is that members must be grandmothers themselves, the website said. And there's just been a lot of information off of this, and some of it I don't know if it's true, some of it I do know is true. We know who the perpetrator is at this point. They've talked about the fact that he did this intentionally, that he drove through a barrier to get to the parade. It did look from that horrifying video that he was actually sweeping to try and get the most destruction out of it.
Yeah, there was already attempts for the narrative saying, oh, he was running from a stabbing when he was running from police. So he drove into an area that will have disproportionate numbers of cops.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I've gotten unconfirmed information from a non-political server, from someone who's he's a useful idiot for the left, but the fact that even he's saying this, he's saying that there's currently thought that he was specifically targeting the dancing grannies.
Which I don't know why he would.
Well, I'm guessing these dancing grannies are probably fairly light-skinned individuals on average.
Yeah.
Combine that with him having SoundCloud rap, that from what I understand, which is being backed up by, internet autists like myself. They've been deep diving into this guy's social media. They weren't able to clear it in time from what I understand. So they're finding gems. Apparently he was hardcore BLM, hardcore anti-white. The police are refusing to say that this isn't terrorism. So I'm thinking that I'm guessing that a couple of the people that got hit by him, they're family of the blue.
Yeah.
Guarantee
well, and I mean,
a cop's family member got taken out, and when I think the cops in this one are going to lay it straight at the feet of anti-white terrorism and throw the book at this guy.
Well, one of the things that I noted about this when I was looking at this before I even knew the dude's name, I knew that they knew who he was because they found his car outside of his house, and I've got the picture up on the screen right now. He didn't try to hide this. He didn't try to put it in a garage or turn the nose away from this. He backed in after he did all this.
Yeah,
the car is backed in the driveway. He was proud of this.
Yeah. Oh God, he's going to take the stand in his trial, and he's going to stay stupid shit assuming they just don't quietly make sure he's put in a cell with a white nationalist gang member, and they forget to check him for a shiv.
That could be. And I mean, Waukesha is overwhelmingly white compared to its neighbor Milwaukee.
Yeah,
that's one piece of evidence onto this that I can definitely add to that not a lot of other people would. One of the entertaining parts of this I have found was listening to people try to pronounce the name of Waukesha.
Waukesha. I mean, I didn't know it until you said it, but you're, a fucking cheese eater.
Yeah. I think the best one that I heard was I listened to Styx's video this morning. He said, Waukesha.
Waukesha. Well, okay. That's Styx. I think he purposefully mispronounces things. It's a meme.
Yeah, I think so.
Like the spoon clank.
But Waukesha is where people who work in Milwaukee go to live when they can afford to not live in Milwaukee County. Because it is technically the next, it's the next town over, or next county over.
Got it. So I'm guessing it's got a better school districts, because higher property values,
different county governance, and I mean Waukesha County extends all the way out to Oconomowoc. I think it goes out to Lake Mills too, but I'm not sure. I think it goes out that far. I'm sorry, that's in Jefferson County. But it does, I mean, Oconomowoc is a good distance away, and once you're out to there, you've actually had countryside between the city. But like when you're into Waukesha proper, there is no countryside between. There's either suburbs or city connecting directly Milwaukee to Waukesha.
Yep. Makes sense.
So yeah, when you go out I-94, you don't know what the transition is unless you see the sign that says now entering Waukesha County.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
So they do have some updates on the guy. I guess CNN's already got involved with this, and I haven't read this article yet, so this one's new to me. It says, here's what we know about the suspect in the Waukesha parade tragedy. This is from K. Jones. Daryl E. Brook, 39 in Milwaukee, has been identified as the suspect who drove an SUV through a Christmas parade in Waukesha, Wisconsin, leaving 5 people dead and 48 injured, authorities say on Monday. We are confident that he acted alone. Police Chief Dan Thompson said at a news conference, there is no evidence that this is a terrorist incident, as you mentioned. Brooks faces 5 charges of intentional homicide, and more charges are possible, Thompson said. The chief said no motive is known. Brooks was involved in domestic disturbance earlier Sunday that left the scene just prior to driving his SUV through the parade, Thompson said.
That's probably if he's going spree killer, that was probably the triggering event. I don't think this. Look, I do not think, based on what he did, that this was a planned, like long planned thing. I'm thinking this was kind of a one bad day style spree killer, and he's just targeting people for his own reason that he blames for his problems in life.
Mm-hmm. Well, also, I mean, as we come out and we see the black nationalism of this guy and all the press that made the Rittenhouse, we'll be talking about the Rittenhouse case in just a minute, and the proximity to Kenosha, because it's within an hour away from Kenosha by driving. Yeah. To get to Waukesha, depending on which back roads you take, it is within an hour. To get to this point where he was, it's probably maybe an hour 10 to where he was in the city. But I mean, it's not like they drive forever. I have to wonder if this wasn't a form of protest against the criminal justice system that let a white supremacist go free, given this guy's social media activity.
Oh God, I swear to God, if he claims self-defense out of this, I'm gonna laugh my fucking ass off.
But it's a possibility. I mean, what if we heard? Oh well, if we'll go into the rallies and the white things, and we'll claim self-defense if they ever move at us.
You do realize that you guys are going to lose almost all those cases, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the thing is, the reason why Rittenhouse was found not guilty, that he's innocent of this crime, was very specifically because there was very clear evidence he was the one that was aggressed upon. He was not the aggressor.
Mm-hmm. One of the other interesting side notes that go along with this goes to the fact that this guy was just let out of jail earlier on in the month.
Oh, yeah.
Which
bail reform.
Yep. So he got out on $1,000 bail. The Milwaukee DA's office said the statement that the bail had been set inappropriately low. He posted the bail on November 11th for charges stemming from a November 2nd incident.
Wait, hold on. DA's office. Didn't your current DA run on a platform of reducing bail amounts to get rid of bail?
I don't know if that's true or not.
It's something like the guy's tied to one of the Soros foundations that are pushing the whole no more bail thing.
But interestingly enough, the reason that he was in jail and he had to get let out on bail, he was awaiting trial, because he ran a woman over with his car while she was walking through a gas station parking lot. So it does seem like there's
he also has an extensive criminal record. I know that much.
Yeah. So it's a tragedy. It's definitely going to unfold, but it's probably going to unfold in quiet because he is allegedly a very, very, very vocal black nationalist. So this might be the last day this ever gets covered.
Well, on the mainstream,
yeah.
You know this is going to get on Tucker and the alternative media sources.
Maybe not Tucker, but the alt media sources for sure.
Oh, no, I think Tucker will go with this one because he's going kind of heavy into the Rittenhouse stuff. And if there's any connection that this guy did this because of Rittenhouse, you know he's going to do a follow-up on this guy. And he's going to do a deep dive into this guy. Not as deep as the internet autists, but as much as a mainstream guy could. Assuming something else doesn't happen to distract, of course.
Not guilty.
All right. Well, given that, we do need to go into the important news of the week and what was going to be the top story of this week right up until 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
And I'm going to start with a video.
Not guilty.
Oops. Let me put the video up first. I thought I was full screening it, but I guess I wasn't.
Not guilty.
Members of the jury, are these your unanimous verdicts? Is there anyone who does not agree with the verdicts as read? Would you wish the jury polled? No. Okay. Okay, folks, your job is done, and we started just about 3 weeks ago.
Breathe.
And
Breathe.
I told you it could last 2 weeks and 2 days. This is 2 weeks. This is 3 weeks. You were a wonderful jury to work with. You were punctual. You were attentive.
Not guilty.
When he says that final, when he hears that final not guilty, you see all of the discipline and strength he had ran out at that moment. He had no more strength left. None.
No, I know. I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yep.
It's an amazing feeling, and of course, this has become
And
the
those two in the
political
back,
dividing.
that's the mom and the sister, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is, even after the not guilty verdict has been read, this has become one of the most politically dividing issues that we have going on right now. I mean, Ruffalo is trending right now. We saw that was on the side of the screen when I dropped it back down. Ruffalo, of course, with his here, I didn't even give Ruffalo airtime off of this, but with his historic bad takes, because he is from Kenosha when it's convenient for him.
Mark, I'm going to call you Mark because you haven't earned the last name.
Mm-hmm.
You are defending a pedophile, a domestic abuser, including abusing his own grandmother, and whatever the fuck Gage has gotten up to. It's hard to track what he. Okay, what was it? Drunk with a gun and illegally concealed carrying with a illegal concealed carrying.
No, you actually have that mixed up a little bit. Gage was the grandma beater.
No. That was Hubert.
No, he was a wife beater. Gage was a grandma beater. He had a grandma beating charge when he was a minor still.
Then they both had it because Hubert had, they brought this up in the trial. He threatened his brother and grandmother with a fucking knife to clean up the place better.
That was Gage.
No. That was Hubert. I remember the trial. I watched it. At the time, they had the great aunt on the stand.
Mm-hmm.
The defense objected, and they read out the fucking charges, and the prosecutor's like, yeah, we're dropping this. Just because the second that is brought in there, they knew Hubert's charge would have been gone.
Anyway, yes, as of this moment, Kyle Rittenhouse is a free man, and his only big sentence is that he has 35 years of CPAC appearances.
Well, yeah, I mean, as free as anyone in the situation can be, he's basically forced. He's only going to be able to work for conservative companies and causes going forward.
Right.
If he wants to be a nurse, he's going to have to find a hospital or medical center that is run by conservatives. And even then, he's going to be followed for the rest of his life.
Right.
And some people are saying, he's having the interview with Tucker to start to try to rehabilitate his character, but the problem is there's no rehabilitating him with the left. Centerists, they heard the not guilty. They'll look into it a little bit if they're confused and move on with their lives. Because even the MSM is kind of backpedaling because they want to be really careful with what they're saying going forward about facts in the case.
Yeah, no, I get it. A lot of stuff changed when this happened. First off, Gerald Nadler has come out, and he decided to throw his weight in there, and his weight is excessive, by the way.
Oh yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. He's trying to get the DOJ to look into it, but there's nothing for the DOJ to look into.
Well, this heartbreaking verdict is a miscarriage of justice and sets a dangerous precedent which justifies federal review by the DOJ. Justice cannot tolerate armed persons crossing state lines looking for trouble, while people engage in First Amendment protected protest.
They weren't. They were rioting. First Amendment protected protest said peaceably assemble. It's in the amendment that you have to be peaceful. They weren't being peaceful. Setting a dumpster on fire is the opposite of peaceful.
No.
Do you know what our founders would have ordered if they were in control of the police? Shoot on sight.
Yeah, and I know they're trying to get, because I mean, the left would still believe that that gun came out of Illinois and into Wisconsin.
It's never left the state of Wisconsin. The only time it ever existed outside of the state of Wisconsin was when it was manufactured, which was likely in another state, and then the little bit of time it was shipped to Wisconsin.
It's a Smith, right?
Smith and Wesson. I don't know what specific model. It's AR-15 derivative.
Yeah, M&P15, I think it was, but it was Smith and Wesson, which means that means it came out of Massachusetts.
Yeah, so it's literally only ever been in what 5 or 6 states.
Yeah,
and most of those states it was only in there for as long as it took to transport it through the state.
Exactly.
So it's basically the vast majority of its life was likely in Wisconsin or in a warehouse somewhere in the nation.
Which might also be in Wisconsin.
In Wisconsin, yeah.
One of the big things that went along with this, we're going to go backtrack and talk a little bit before this, but some of the stuff that happened after this, of course.
Katie said does bring up a point. It did cross state lines after the incident when Kyle turned himself in because they turned the gun over to the police. But I think at that point, you're splitting fucking hairs.
Hairs meant to be split. GoFundMe came out off of this. GoFundMe put out a statement.
Oh, God, GoFundMe.
Yeah, I'm currently struggling as to whether or not I can continue to use GoFundMe or not, because that's what we're using to raise money for Turn Some Pages Productions. And I talked about at the top of the show that I don't want to use them anymore. I'm internally struggling with myself as to whether or not I can even take the money that's in there.
I mean, you can try going Indiegogo.
Yeah. No, I've got a few of them out there that I know a little bit about that I'm going to do some research into. But it's like, do I want GoFundMe to have the fees for the $600 that are in there? Can I sleep with myself if they get that kind of fee?
You would sleep with yourself, but that's a different story.
Yeah, I think there are a few people out there, especially ex-girlfriends, who have suggested that I go and sleep with myself.
Well, also something funny I found about this is GoFundMe. Did you not only host Antifa bail funds, but donated to them as well?
Well, you're getting ahead of yourself here. So this is the statement they put out. GoFundMe's terms of service prohibit raising money for the legal defense of an alleged violent crime. In light of the Rittenhouse trial, we want to clarify when and why we have removed certain fundraisers in the past. Which was, quote tweeted with this picture, GoFundMe not only allowed a fundraiser for a group, Riot Kitchen, dedicated to providing logistical support for riots, but the company itself actually donated $500. The group was arrested outside Kenosha while filling up gas containers to distribute to rioters.
So GoFundMe, how would you like to talk to the counterterrorism guys for funding terrorism?
Yeah, there's that. I want to back up just a little bit, though, before all this happened, because we spent most of last week not knowing what was going to happen. And really, honestly, once the news came out, a lot of the story became moot. But there were some things happen. Now, I went down on Monday before the RedNet show. I went down there and just did a quick drive-by, some filming, and some looking at what was going on there. And there was nothing. I don't know. I didn't even stream that day. I did. I did stream that day. I went down there. We looked at the evidence. I showed the ultimate car wash, and we looked at some of the protests out there. At the time, there were like 12 people standing outside the courthouse, but they started showing up. on Tuesday after the jury started deliberating.
Yeah.
And in force, did they ever show up to? Couple different counter protests and protests, and I mean there were just mainly protesters out there, mostly Black Lives Matter that was out there when I was down there, but the counter protesters showed up, and we got some very, very meme situations out here. We had this gentleman here who was being accosted for the fact that he was carrying a gun case outside of the protest, but what he pulled out was kind of surprising.
I'll pull it out. I'll pull it out. Watch. Yeah! 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 Fuck you guys! Fuck Black Lives Matter!
I think that's the first protester where counter protesters pulled a dildo out of a rifle case in the middle of the protest.
He's just fucking with them.
Yeah.
I salute you, IRL shit poster. I salute you, sir. You are doing a service to this nation.
A service to the meme community, that's for sure.
Yep.
We had this protester as well who decided she had something to say. This was like minutes before the I checked the timestamp with this video. This was minutes before the verdict was announced. So let's watch this one.
I am a monument! I am a monument! Fuck America!
Oh, and watch how she puts the mask on.
Quick. Yo, stop that, quick. Shit, okay? Holy shit. Get her. Hey, get here.
Hold her to her side. Keep her on the side. Keep her on the side.
And the Oscar goes to
me for keeping a straight face through that.
Well, your face is a drawing on a screen, so
don't tell them that.
This looks like somebody who is trying to pretend to have a seizure that's never seen anybody have a seizure in their life.
One, if I remember right, seizures are far more fucking violent than that. Much sharper motions. Mm-hmm. And she'd be flopping around like a fucking fish out of water.
Yeah. But she is a monument.
No, she's a waste of oxygen.
I'm a monument.
You're a waste of oxygen.
The most interesting thing that came out right before the trial was this happened. The verdict was read on Friday at just about noon. So this was the Thursday night before. I'm going to read Brian Stelter's words off of this just so we get some accuracy off of there. So we know the definitive answer of what happened. NBC News statement. Last night, a freelancer received a traffic citation. While the traffic violation took place near the jury van, the freelancer never contacted or intended to contact the jurors during deliberations and never photographed or intended to photograph them. So that's the narrative. That's what happened, right?
Hold on. I'm hearing mooing. Oh God, I'm spelling shit. Oh God, it's bullshit. Oh God, that's a bullshit, man.
So in review of what happened with that, the Thursday night before the trial, as the jury van was going to the undisclosed location where the jurors' vehicles were, which was a sealed privacy glass windowed van to make sure that nobody was taken, photographed, or otherwise through the jury transit.
I have a theory as to where they were parking their cars. They were parking at Car Source. No one would expect that, would they?
I don't think they were parking at Car Source because there was no red light for the dude to run between there and Car Source.
I know. I'm just fucking shit.
No, I get it. Yeah. I think they were going somewhere out west because it sounded like they were doing it on 52nd Street, from what I understand. But as soon as all this went down, the freelancer, so-called, flipped on them, said he was hired by MSNBC. He said he was hired by a producer who almost immediately deleted her Twitter account.
She knew
not just
everything.
Locked it down, deleted it.
I think she deleted her. It's not Indeed. It's her LinkedIn has been privated. Her Twitter's gone.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically gone radio silent because she just realized, oh fuck, I've just been implicated in jury intimidation.
Yeah.
I'd laugh my ass off so hard if they somehow got a hold of, if that guy released emails later on as the screws start getting turned on him at some point. And then, she has to go in front of Judge Schrader and he goes, so now have the tables turned.
Yeah.
Because he's not a fan of the media these days.
No, that he's not. What's interesting about Judge Schrader is he's a lifelong Democrat himself. Yeah. And I thought that he was, nominated under Thompson. It wasn't. He was nominated in the single term of Tony Earls in 1983. Earls was a Democrat.
Got it. So older than dirt Democrat, basically Reagan Democrat, is probably starting to realize, wait, maybe the party's left me.
Okay, but they keep saying that he's this reliable Republican, always, white supremacist, this, that, the next thing. That's what they try to say throughout the trial, but...
You know what to describe Judge Schroeder as? He has a love for the law and a love for the Constitution. And a love for the nation. Those are the three things you can get from him. Oh, also, he loves the cookie book and Jeopardy. But that's just common among old people, so...
Yeah. But in relation, and going back and speaking about Judge Schrader, this happened the next morning while we were waiting for the jury deliberations.
Interest in the case, and so I'm going to call it a sealed bus, and that's been done every day, and then they're brought here to this building. And last evening, a person who identified himself as James G. Morrison and who claimed that he was a producer with NBC News, employed for MSNBC, and under the supervision of a person, what's going on? Oh, okay. Under the supervision of someone named Irene Bayan in New York for MSNBC. The police, when they stopped him because he was following at a distance of about a block and went through a red light, pulled him over and inquired of him what was going on, and he gave that information and stated that he had been instructed by Ms. Bayan in New York to follow the jury bus. The matter is under further investigation at this point, and the media has asked questions about it. That's the latest I have. And he was ticketed for violating a traffic control signal. He's not here today, from what I'm told, and
oh yeah, he fucking
I have
bounced.
instructed that no one from MSNBC News will be permitted in this building. This is a very serious matter, and I don't know what the ultimate truth of it is, but absolutely it would go without much thinking that someone who is following the jury bus, that is it's extremely serious matter, and will be referred to the proper authorities for.
Translation. You know what? Pastor Pawlowski said it better. Nazis, get out! Out! Get out!
Look, I've got a solution to deal with some of this jury intimidation stuff. If you're doing something that could reasonably intimidate a jury, you're going to be held in contempt of court, no access to a lawyer, no visitation until after the jury, after that jury is done deliberating. So if that's, 8 months from now, have fun in jail.
there were a couple good takes on this, and some very, very bad takes. A girl I've been following on Twitter for quite a while. She's very prominent in the Liberty community. Literally Your Mom is the name on the screen, and the ad is followed for it. Said it, I think, best, because I know we've been talking about whether or not this was racially charged or not. Literally Your Mom says, this trial wasn't even about race until the media got involved.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, those individuals uniquely, interestingly, are part of a specific group of people. But let's not get too much into that. Otherwise, Susan might notice us.
And the libs of TikTok got their way here. And I chose this one because, well, this kind of sums up how all the rest of the left has been handling this throughout the week. But I wanted to use this one specifically. There it is.
Well, looks like Wisconsin's gonna fucking burn tonight. All 5 charges. All 5 fucking charges. Not guilty. Unfucking real. If you don't know what white privilege looks like, look no goddamn further. Look no fucking further. He got away with murder. And gets to walk scot-free. Unfucking believable. Well,
dope music, by the way.
There's music in the back, but a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that she should calm down before she has a coronary.
Also,
especially at that size.
Also, there are people that want to talk to you about something called incitement to violence.
I got to give this particular one credit because she kind of rolled with it too. Like, she had a comment, I think it was deleted out of the comment section, that just basically said, "Oh yeah, I love it when all you guys roast me. Just come on and throw more hate on me," which people did.
And let me guess, she backed away pretty quick.
Well, I don't see the comment up there anymore, but I did give her credit that, you know, usually when they do stuff like this, they can't laugh at themselves. They can't go out and have fun. They're just stiff and angry all the time. But she actually looked like she was trying to have a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah. Well, how long before you think she gets the phone call from her boss?
I don't know, to be completely honest. But
at some point this is going to be sent to her boss.
Could be. Especially since she tweeted in there with her name.
Yeah.
Some of the other reaction that came out of this, of course, Pedro Pascal had to go ruin The Mandalorian for me. Pascal,
Okay. It's called Death of the Author. Learn it. Learn it.
And then Mark Ruffalo on top of all this, too. Pedro Pascal tweeted out, Joseph Rosenbaum, 36, Anthony Hooper, 27, murdered August 25th, 2020. Rest in peace.
I think you made a typo there. I think you meant to say rest in piss.
Given the fact that he's got him in his profile, I don't think that he did.
Yeah. So it sounds like Carano may have dodged a bullet by getting thrown off the Mandalorian set.
It's a shame. Carano's fucking hot. I didn't realize until I watched that show because I'd only ever really seen her face before that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's got an athletic build, but, you know, if you're into that.
I am.
Yeah.
And then Ruffalo, too. We come together to mourn the lives lost to the same racist system that devalues black lives, devalued the lives of Anthony and JoJo. Hashtag reimagine Kenosha. And that's one of the other things they've been trying to do is trying to, you know, infantilize, especially Rosenbaum. It's Anthony and JoJo.
Guys, how many little boys got abused by Rosenbaum? Was it 5?
Sound like hate facts.
I mean, Jay, how long ago should Rosenbaum been chucked into the wood chipper? How many years ago?
I refuse to answer that on the grounds that Susan is watching.
True. The wood chipper in Minecraft.
Well, it's not even about that, because he did serve his time and paid his debt to the state. His debt to the families will never be repaid. I'm strongly for that, but he did pay his debt to the state.
Well, I mean, the problem is I see the debt is way too low. Mm-hmm. We know what the recidivism rate is for those people.
Mm-hmm. And the
mid to
victims
high
too.
90s. Yeah.
Because usually, if you've been victimized like that before in your life, you have the tendency to go back and do that to other people. I understand.
Oh yeah.
I get it. I forget where I was going with that. I had a point to that, and I forget what it was. Oh, yeah. The point of that is I mean, regardless of his criminal history, the fact that he was out on suicide watch. If
I mean,
St. Luke's had kept him one more day.
Yeah, death by counter protester is my theory.
If St. Luke's had kept him one more day, you'd have never heard the fucking name Rittenhouse in your life.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you don't mind putting on the tinfoil hat for a little bit, there is a theory that Grosskreutz figured out that Rosenbaum was unstable and wanted to try to use him to smear the right. You know, have him steal the gun from Rittenhouse. He was unstable. He was dropping the N-bomb earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You could have made the argument that Rosenbaum was a white supremacist.
That could be. Yeah. I mean, he was hurling the N-word at white people.
Yeah.
As of right now, it does not look like there are any protests going on in Kenosha. Well, I don't think there are any going on right now because it's colder as fuck.
I mean, there's probably a couple of crazies demonstrating during the day when it's warmer.
Yeah. There was some shit going down last night, but it doesn't seem to be protest related. I was listening to the scanner last night, and there was some shit going down in Kenosha last night, but it was like a guy set his back porch on fire. And
got it. So somebody got really, really drunk.
Yeah.
So he got really, really drunk is what you're telling me.
Yeah, and I mean, it was not just a little fire like we had over in the kitchen over here. It was like rolling fucking flames.
I don't want to set the world on fire.
Yeah. So that's what I have off of this. I know they did a march. The march that they did, they took the path that Rittenhouse took. They marched down Sheridan Road on the path that Rittenhouse took.
Wouldn't that be more of a thing that the pro-Kyle people should do?
You would think, but it was Jesse Jackson's organization that did it.
Yeah, because the thing is, also I know exactly what the title of at some point when there's more of a dramatized version of the Rittenhouse events made by a conservative group. What was it? 2 minutes and 53 seconds was how long Kyle had that event was. 2 minutes 53 seconds. You know they're going to call it that. 2 minutes and 53 seconds.
That could be.
Yeah, I'm calling it now, people.
All right. We got to catch up on some live chat here because there's a whole bunch that we have over here, and I do have to scroll.
Pay attention to the peanut gallery.
I do have to go over to the live too.
It's pure cancer.
Because I missed them the last time.
Yeah, true.
Imagine for being taxation, cringe. We've already read that. I just wanted to read that again because I agree with that sentiment entirely.
Yep.
Let's see. Katie Z says high school marching band. Blippity Blop says the narrative was absurd, and of course he knew that. He was just gearing for the judge to throw out the case, so that way it could be pinned specifically on Schrader and maximizes a backlash. That is actually probably true.
Yeah.
Nailbender says you're still socially awkward, CWal. What the fuck?
Oh, of course. I did not kill the part that is cringe in me. I killed the part that cringes.
Let's see. Let's just take this out of the D-line.
I found my people, as it were.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Grant says, can you explain to me about that, why they were having a Christmas parade in Waukesha when it's not even Thanksgiving yet? They usually do it. They actually usually do it earlier than this, to be completely honest. But they do it at the start of what they call the holiday season, where people are getting together, but they still want it to be somewhat warm, where people can go out and enjoy the weather. So
it's Wisconsin.
Yeah, it gets cold as fuck here.
Yeah,
by the end of November. Leibt to Max says Wisconsin has a lot of decent people, but those bad apples are really rotten. Quest says melanonin has been clearly tainted. Leibt to Max says the dancing grannies of all the people to target. Yeah, I believe that everybody who died in that incident was one of the dancing grannies too. So
I mean, it makes sense. Older individuals, just their bodies can't take trauma as much. Women on average also can take less trauma than men. It's just statistics.
Leibt to Max says, if we thought Rittenhouse was meme-worthy, if that guy takes the stand.
Oh, God. And the thing about Rittenhouse being meme-worthy, it was basically the screenshots of him crying. Because if you watch any other part of it, he was, I wouldn't call him stone-faced, but very reserved, very in control.
Mm-hmm.
So, though there were a couple of lines like, you were trying to play COD in real life, weren't you? It's a video game. Just that look of utter confusion, like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Let's see. Quest says, Jumpkick Man was violating probation. Rosenbaum should have still been on suicide watch, and now this. Tadubin says, D-Live is still buffering and stopping. Sorry, got to unfollow. Well, there was always the YouTube and the Twitch, so we have options. You were told that this morning.
Agreeing with me on the Gage versus what was it? Gage versus not Rosenbaum, Hubert. Hubert was the domestic abuser. Gage was not a domestic abuser.
If I remember correctly, he did have the grandma charge when he was a kid, though. Still,
we'll have to double check.
I will look into that after the show.
Yeah. We'll have to pull the rap sheet.
Ben Wild says, so you guys are saying the guys that came at Rittenhouse were criminals and deplorable type of people? Well, color me fucking shocked.
Exactly.
And then Mr. Zed came out and said, would that be a light crimson? Katie Zed says, I have lots of hair to split. Nailbender says, same. I forget what it was that we were talking about. Oh, considering taking my GoFundMe down. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Zed says, sleeping with yourself sounds like a party with Rosie and her 5. Yeah, that's not what gets suggested to me when people tell me to go and sleep with myself. Katie Zed says, last Monday was the Zednet show, not the Rednet show. Yes, that's correct. Katie said, and the Academy Award goes to.
Well, actually, I'm thinking that's Katie trying to muscle her way into the show permanently.
Maybe
she's crowd testing the name.
Quest took off because of the New York Giants and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I haven't watched football in forever, so I don't care. MK Ultra threw us a lemon. Thank you, MK Ultra. Leibt to the Max says, Jojo, we hardly knew you. No, we know enough about you.
Jojo, we know enough about you that we wish that certain events happened in prison to you.
Mr. Zed says, set his back porch on fire. Sound like he ran out of money to pay his heating bill. Yeah, it's fucking expensive up here. And it's cold. Highleaf says, well, I'll be in Discord later. Just chat. Still watching. Just watching. See you guys there. So it looks like Highleaf had to go take off too. Yeah, all right. What else do we have? What else do we have to go over? What other stupid shit happened this week?
My will to live slowly dying every day, bit by bit.
Let's talk about infrastructure, shall we?
And it died.
So first and foremost, we've got a few things to go over with this. Joe Biden has signed the infrastructure bill. It is law.
Woo. More debt, more spending on pork barrel projects. Woo! Aren't you excited?
Apparently. So, according to CNBC, Biden has signed the $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill into law, unlocking funds for transportation and broadband utilities. From Jacob Pramuk. This was on Monday, so this was right before the Red Ned show last week. Yes, it is signed, it is ready to go, and yes, we are going to start seeing all of these big infrastructure projects come out of here.
That will be over budget and behind schedule almost immediately.
And also, government projects rarely have a return on investment. That's, the standard of government projects. But I was interested in this, by the way, because it says the package will put $550 billion into new funds for transportation, broadband, and utilities. Biden's signature follows a year of failed efforts in Washington to overhaul physical infrastructure improvements that advocates have said will boost the economy and create jobs. New Deal. Sorry, I had something in my throat there.
Oh, yeah. Well, here's the thing is also that I find funny. He passed it, and he hasn't received a bump in approval. That's bad. That is insanely bad.
In fact, it dropped.
Look, do you know what? Do you know what I want to get on a shirt?
What's that?
Come on, Dow, you can do it. You can drop below 10,000.
Dude, don't do that.
Total chaos. I want the markets to burn. Accelerate.
What got me about this is the CNBC explanation of this. First off, this is a $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, but the package says it will only put $550 billion into new funds for transportation, broadband, and utilities. So what happened to the other $650 billion?
Repeat after me, Jay. Pork barrel projects.
Yeah, the shit that they had to get on there so Mitt Romney would sign on to it.
Yeah.
But they broke it down even further. And the numbers that they broke it down even further to also didn't add up to $550 billion. The legislation will put $110 billion into roads, bridges, and other major projects. It will receive $66 billion in freight and passenger rail, including potential upgrades to Amtrak. It will direct $39 billion.
Who uses Amtrak?
Pete Buttigieg.
Why would you use Amtrak?
Because he loves trains. Although if Pete Buttigieg is saying that, that's probably means something completely different.
Yeah. Does he love running them or having them run on him? Is the real question.
Well, that goes back to the question I asked when he was still in the presidential race. Do you think he's the pitcher or the catcher?
Yes.
Let's see. The legislation will also direct $39 billion into public transit systems. It will put $65 billion into expanding broadband, a priority after the coronavirus pandemic left millions of Americans at home without effective internet access. It will also put $55 billion into improving water systems, replacing lead pipes. So 65 and 55 is 120, plus 110 billion into roads. That's 230. 66 and 39 is 105 billion. Plus 230 is 335 billion. Where are the other $115 billion?
Pork barrel?
No, I get that. Now, you and I understand that together. Why is CNBC not reporting on that? That should be top priority news of what happens with this.
Because you do realize that the part of the article you've gotten to, 95% of people never get to. Lie by structure.
That's fair. But interestingly enough, from Bakersfield, which I believe is California, KGET.
Oh, Bakersfield.
Bakersfield, poll results. Do you agree with the decision to pass the infrastructure bill? Yep, it is California, from KGET.
Yeah.
And they put a poll out. I don't know where they put the poll, if they put it on their internal website, if they put it on Facebook or whatnot. We asked, do you agree with the decision to pass the infrastructure bill? And I don't know Bakerfield's population. I don't know. It looks like it was a 622 person sample size. Text 1, yes. Text 2 no. 64 to 36, no.
It's, if I remember right, fairly disproportionate Hispanic population there. Very conservative, especially for California. But those numbers are fucking hilarious, man.
And it's a small sample size, don't get me wrong, but still.
Well, yeah. Well, again, we also don't see that Biden's getting a bump in his approval from this at all.
Yeah, I actually expected that. I expected him to get back up to the 40s at least, but he's not.
Well, okay, in all honesty, do you think he's above 30 at this point in the real numbers?
Maybe. Because there are enough brainwashed people by the mainstream media to just say that he's done everything good. But I don't think it's much above that.
So you're thinking what his floor is high 20s, low 30s?
I'm thinking 31 is the floor.
Oof. I mean, what was it? Trump's was like, what, 41, 42?
Yes, but he was evil and orange and evil, both at the same time. Imagine once you put those two things together.
So Trump is both Gork and Mork? Brutally cunning and cunningly brutal?
Yes. That's a good way to put that, actually. I like that. I like that a lot.
I'm glad you got the reference. I'm glad you got that reference.
Well, he did have to come out and tout and tell us all about his accomplishment with this. This is a speech from Woodstock, New Hampshire, where he went to specifically go stand on one of the bridges that are slated to be replaced. Let's listen to a little bit of the Houseplant Chief. I can't listen to this one for very long. Let's listen to a little bit of this.
As $1.2 trillion in infrastructure spending begins to head out to the 50 states, President Joe Biden chose New Hampshire as his first stop to promote the benefits of this big bill, which span from road repair to clean drinking water to expanding broadband internet.
That 50 years from now, when historians write about this moment, I think they're going to talk about this was the beginning of the time where America recaptured the competition of the 21st century.
In addition to $1.1 billion for Granite State roads, $225 million is on its way to New Hampshire to replace or repair red-listed bridges, like the one the president visited in Woodstock, something even Biden skeptics say is a good idea.
Well, of course it is, and it should have been done by the state a long time ago.
Local Army veteran Guy Hoover appreciates the investment in...
All right, that's enough out of him. I can't stand the announcer, much less the president. Do I need to wake you up after Biden spoke?
What was that? I was awake. Look, okay. I'm an IT guy, so let me break this down for you. America's internet is fucked, not because we haven't invested in it, but because, motherfucker, we were the prototype for the internet.
Mm-hmm.
So we are a literal fucking cobbled together hodgepodge, chewing gum and baling wire. The only way we fix this would be a stupid, expensive project to effectively replace massive chunks of the last mile, as well as do massive build-outs of backbones. It would take years and potentially trillions of dollars to do this. Because you're talking about having to build a parallel system to what we have currently, and then have to do proper shutdown and transfer over. You're talking about having to get the half dozen or so companies that are involved in the internet working together, which they are not.
Not only that, but what happens when, you, especially on a communication platform, once you get the government involved? Oh, we didn't like the opinion that you posted on Twitter there. I guess you don't need to have internet at your house.
Well, the thing is, a lot of the internet backbone has been funded by the government in the past, and those projects, every single time, they've not given what they promised.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. It just lined the pockets of CEOs. That's it.
But this is coming now, and yeah, like you said, there was no reasonable bump that came out of this. Also this week, the House has passed the Build Back Better bill. This happened over the weekend. By 2:20 to 2:13 at 9:46 a.m. on Friday, and this comes after.
That's some slim margins. That's some slim margins, man.
Yeah, This comes after Kevin McCarthy stood on the floor for, what did they wind up finding about this? 8 hours and, what was it, 42 minutes, I think it was? It doesn't say in the article. But yeah, McCarthy spoke all overnight about this, telling us everything that was in it.
Maybe we should mandate that every line of the bill needs to be read in Congress before it can be voted on. That might help a lot of these problems.
Well, I had a leftoid on Twitter, and I chose not to feature that person, but pointed out, whoa, there's a line in this bill that mandates that $35 out-of-pocket cost monthly for all insulin. How could anybody vote against this? Oh, it's pretty easy. I know what's involved in it. I know how much it's going to cost, and I know that they only put that on a little rider to elicit comments exactly like this one.
Well, then ask him. So theoretically, let's make a bill. In the bill, it bans it would ban non-whites from voting in the U.S., but it also gives you insulin for $35 max. Does that mean that it's bad to vote against that bill? You got to speak in really simple terms to these people, and even then they don't get it.
Well, yeah, because I did mention that if this was such an important thing, why can't they make this a single line bill?
Not only that, but the thing is, people don't realize the generic insulins, the older formulations that just require you to be a bit more careful, are dirt cheap. Talk to your doctor about them. There are generic companies that make it for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. And the other side of it is, I also pointed out the fact that, somebody came back to me after I pointed out the single line bill and says, well, I bet you have no problem with all the discretionary spending on the military, right? I said, no, I have a big problem with that. Because
there's a lot of discretionary spending that even me, the nationalist that wants to see a strong military defending us, goes, hold on, most of that doesn't deserve to exist. When the borderline war hawk says you're spending too much on the military.
Well, Bobert got in, and this will be the first of 2 Bobert videos that we're going to watch tonight. So Bobert got her name into this one here, talking about the Build Back Better plan. Let's listen to what Lauren Bobert had to say.
There's $550 billion for Green New Deal policies and tax breaks, so congressional members from the Bronx can afford a new Tesla. Biden's Brokeback budget has another $330 billion to incentivize workers to stay home. Newsflash to the party of wealthy cities and wealthy elites. We have a worker shortage right now in America. We have an inflation crisis. This will only make things worse, much worse, not better. But let me guess, when things do get worse, as they inevitably will, we'll need to re-elect y'all's sorry selves so you can fix it, right? No thanks, I'll pass, and I urge my colleagues to vote no on this monstrosity of a spending bill. And I yield back.
Reclaiming my time. Oh, wait, no, that's the other direction. I mean, is she wrong?
She's completely right. It's a pork barrel bill that's spending a crap load of money to keep people on unemployment, leading to more mass inflation, leading to an inevitable Weimar effect in the United States where, well, you remember who the 2 sides were at the end of the Weimar Republic? Which side won that fight?
No, I get it. The most entertaining part of this, I actually put it up in the articles because I have the exact number off of this. But the CBO got involved with this too because remember we were told right off from the beginning that this bill, it's not going to cost us a dime. It's not going to be anything. Well, the CBO had something to say about that.
And
see
the
if I can grab
CBO
the
is well
exact
known
number
for
off.
underestimating the cost of bills. Well known for it at this point.
God damn it. I'm always so prepared, I promise. Holy shit, that's all the way back to the Rittenhouse stuff.
Base statement from Katie Zed. I hate her voice. Repeal the 19th.
Nice. Did I not put this in here? I know I did. Yep, there it is. From CBS News. I found it. The CBO came out and said the House passed the Build Back Better social spending plan on Friday morning after the vote, which was supposed to take place Thursday night, delayed, of course, as we talked about, by McCarthy. God damn it, they had the number off here too. Yep, there it is. $367 billion over 10 years is the budget deficit from this monstrosity.
Yep.
But don't worry, it's not going to cost us anything.
I'm not going to lie. I'm going to work on my goose stepping.
All right, let's talk about. We'll finish up with Paul Gosar. We'll do surprise stupidity and head out of here for the day. Yep. We're going to start with CNN talking about this one. So, according to CNN, on Wednesday, the House votes to censure and remove Gosar from committees over violent video targeting AOC and Biden.
Please stop reminding me of this. God damn it. It is so cringe.
Just in case anybody's forgotten what this video looks like.
No, don't do it. No, stop, please, God, no. You're cringe. Why? I'm a fucking weeb and I can't stand this. Oh, God, why? Didn't I supply you with the link to this?
Yes.
Why did I do this to myself? Drowning myself in a bathtub would be less painful. I want to meet the intern that made this. And then I want to clockwork orange them into hating anime.
There's the giant AOC.
Yeah.
Just in case everybody forgot what that looked like.
It's pure fucking cringe. That's what this is.
It's a political ad, and the cringiest part is not necessarily the animated, the sword fight that came out of this. The cringiest part is, of course, the Republican buzzwords that go along with that. Here's the border. Here's the people that are walking through this. Here's the military.
I'm glad I can entertain you, chat. Because here's the thing. I don't watch that anime. I have no interest in it. And Gosar, who was your target audience? Who? Tell me who this target audience was, because it sure as hell ain't weebs. Because either, if they are on your side, like me, conservative weebs, they're confused by this. Communist, socialist, leftist weebs aren't going to be convinced by this. And the rest of the weebs are apolitical. What was your plan?
This. I mean, everybody in the alternative media sphere is talking about this dude.
I guess he's following the Trumpian, any publicity is good publicity.
Exactly. The final vote for the censure was 223 to 207. And yes, he is removed from all committee assignments, so he joins Marjorie Taylor Greene in just being a yes or a no vote at this point.
Also, again, guys, you have made this process so petty. I guarantee you the Republicans are not going to give you any committee assignments after 2022. There won't be a single Democrat on a committee that isn't in the pocket of the Republicans already.
I don't know. I still think it was funny. Yeah. But I got to give Boebert, when we're going to give her another chance here, because, and I'm sorry, Katie, you can't stand her voice, but she had some nice shooting here. 3 targets in one 1-minute speech. Are you ready?
Ooh, I do like this one. This will rehab you.
Democrat policies are so pathetic and have done so poorly that the left has nothing else to do but troll the internet looking for ways to get offended and then try to target members and strip them of their committees. This is a dumb waste of the House's time. But since the Speaker has designated the floor to discuss members' inappropriate actions, shall we? The Jihad Squad member from Minnesota has paid her husband, and not her brother husband, the other one, over $1 million in campaign funds. This member is allowed on the Foreign Affairs Committee while praising terrorists. A Democrat chairwoman incited further violence in the streets outside of a courthouse. And then the cherry on top. My colleague and 3-month presidential candidate from California, who is on the Intelligence Committee, slept with Fang Fang, a Chinese spy. Let me say that again. A member of Congress who receives classified briefings was sleeping with the enemy. This is unacceptable, and this would never be...
Time's expired. Gentleman from Florida.
Nice shooting, Tex.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time. To the Democrats, of course.
Nice shoot, 3.
I mean, she pulled a fucking Kenosha hat trick with that one.
No shit. 3 targets, 1 shot.
Yeah. Yes, we know Katie. She's very annoying, but she is funny at times.
Yeah, this is unacceptable. She yelled as the time ran out.
Yeah.
And, of course, this launched into another set of fights over here. Ilhan Omar saying that she defecates Congress. I don't know what that means exactly, but CWal getting a couple of good-natured jabs in this. I guess that she got targeted, too. I guess her campaign manager got targeted for a few things. And, of course, all the internet autists that have leftism disease decided to go find out everything about her that we all already knew about her childhood when she was 17, and her now husband got picked up for whipping his junk out at a bowling alley in public.
So he was being a stupid high schooler.
Yeah.
Is he on the sex offender list, or is it more of a, you're being a fucking idiot, here's an indecent exposure, don't do it again?
Well, I mean, we can go back and review the sex offender shuffle video and see if he showed up in there.
Don't think he did. Could be, maybe. I don't know. I mean, if he was 17 at the time, he's being...
I think he was 18.
Okay. So it was a stupid 18-year-old trying to impress a 17-year-old girlfriend.
Possibly.
In a bowling alley.
Yeah.
I guarantee you what he wanted. I know exactly what he fucking wanted out of that.
What's that?
Her on her knees in the back room.
That could be. I don't know if she whipped out to her or whipped it out to somebody else, because apparently the person that it was intended for pressed charges.
Okay. Again, it's a misdemeanor exposure charge, maybe. He's 18 at a bowling alley. Probably had some alcohol in him at the time. Cop's going to write him a ticket and told him to go fuck himself. And don't be an idiot. Maybe he saw the inside of a jail for a weekend.
Maybe. Like I say, I'm not sure. You had brought up the thing with Gosar and what his intentions were off of this. And like I think it is just the publicity side of this. I mean, he went out and hung out with Fuentes.
Got it. So he's kind of trying to get the Groyper vote.
That could be.
Yeah. Which, does that even exist in his district? I mean, this doesn't exactly hurt him in his district. I just don't see the purpose of helping him.
I have no idea. What I know is that, yes, like you had pointed out, this is going to bite them in the ass the next time Congress flips. And I'm not exactly 100% positive it's going to be in 2022 because honk honk. But at some point, they can't honk enough.
Well, again, we also saw in Virginia. I mean, I got a message from Blip who believes that the Democrats strategically lost Virginia to try to claim, oh, it's totally not honk honked. But the problem is, there were some questions about that election. Combine that with the fact that New Jersey was barely blue in the end of it. And there was some honk in that one.
Well, yeah, they can get away with in that one. They honked. They honked in Virginia. I know they honked in Virginia. They just couldn't honk enough. Yeah. Because 10 points of lead got erased overnight and brought down into within 2 percentage points.
Yeah. Yep.
You ready to see something really fucking stupid?
Do I need to get my rope?
Is there soap on it?
Yes, I use it to hit people with that are being idiots.
All right.
Just quick whip with it on the ass. Set them straight.
We're going to start back with the houseplant in chief. So I'm not sure what bill it was that he was signing for this, but the houseplant in chief got himself into the news this week.
Oh God, no. Don't show me this. Do not show me this. I will get the wood chipper.
You know which one this is, don't you?
I can guess. There's 2 of them.
Hi. What's your name? 7 years old. You are. What grade are you in? First grade. Oh, that's great, man. Thank you for being here. You okay? Maybe after this I can show you what.
Maybe after this I'll show you around the White House, okay? Chris Hansen.
Chris Hansen, we need you, even though you're kind of a scumfuck at this point. For different reasons.
I guarantee you this was some leftoid out there who let their kid fight. And it was Kamala Harris that was feeding the child to Biden, too. You can see her outline sitting out behind her.
Well, I mean, Biden needs that life energy to keep on going.
I just need one little sniff, man. Come on. Just give me a sniff. Let me smell you. How old are you? Maybe after this I'll show you around the White House. Which, honestly, in a presidential position would normally be an innocuous statement.
But with fucking Biden, that voice, talking with the kid, asking how old he is.
And the kid sniffer. The kid sniffing.
Yeah.
And he is indiscriminate on gender when he kid sniffs, too. He is completely indiscriminate on gender for that.
He's a weird old man. Keep weird old men away from kids.
So that is one. No confirmation if that kid ever did get the tour. But the second one that I found even more.
The Secret Service evacuated that kid the second they saw him nearby Biden.
Maybe. This one comes to us from the Daily Mail. From the Daily Mail, would you buy a political correctness police bot? Trigger warning device for classrooms and parties sounds alarm when it detects offensive language or jokes. Reading on, a new trigger warning detector, which sounds alarms when it detects offensive speech, has been unveiled at Dubai Design Week. The Themis is a lamp-sized device intended to moderate debate in classrooms and universities and manifest political correctness in a product. The small device could even be used to police language at dinner parties and family gatherings, and its developers have said it hopes that the Themis will encourage self-critique.
Okay, thank you for the tools for us to guarantee that your ideology will die and never come up again. I mean, guys, do you not realize you are literally creating the tools that will be used against you?
I took a completely different route to this when I found this. I looked at something like this and I said, what do I get if I get the high score?
I mean, also there's the Demolition Man reference. It's a movie I know you haven't seen.
I have seen half of that movie, so I understand the reference.
God damn it. It's a good movie.
I know. I've never been able to find it after I saw it. I was in an independent study hall in high school, and one of the other kids was watching it. I got to see the first half of it, but I've never found a copy of it since then, especially once I started streaming. So
yeah, I'll find you a copy. Just don't ask where.
But I mean, do I get a prize for getting the high score? Zina Issa, who unveiled the device in Dubai, told the Telegraph.
Yeah, yes, you get a
use...
9mm prize, the back of the head.
Oh, that's no fun. I want to set the high score. I want to see how many times I can set that off. You've never been around my family. I can just imagine what would happen if you put one of these at a dinner party with my family, especially my dad's family. My mom's family, not so much, but my dad's family. If you put this around my dad's family, I mean, this thing would never stop going off.
They're going to fuck with it.
Oh, yeah, there's that, too. You've never even met my dad's family, you know that.
Question, does it go off when you talk about the Bilderbergs? Just mentioning them?
I don't think so. Maybe. Extremely bothersome alarms that last approximately 2 minutes, after which Themis turns off, allowing an open, understanding discussion among people on the possible trigger matter and the potential reasons behind Themis's activation.
If that fucking activates, you know what I'm going to do? Say exactly what I said before when they start trying to talk about it.
Like I said, what happens if I get the high score? That's what I got. I told you there's always good stupidity at the end of the show. All right.
So we're on track for Demolition Man. So when is Taco Bell going to win the franchise wars?
I have no idea.
So do you think they're going to use guerrilla tactics, or do you think they're going to go blitzkrieg?
I'm not sure. Well, I just want an excuse to wear a fancy suit to go to Taco Bell.
Just do it sometime and say, "Oh, have you guys won the franchise wars yet?" See if the person gets the reference.
You know, I never thought about doing that, but now I'm going to.
Record it. Record it, motherfucker.
All right, let's catch up with some live chat here, see what these guys are doing. Katie Z says Tony and Joe are white, Anthony and JoJo are not. It was the last one that we watched off of here. Spartan says Joe Biden owes me $600. 1,400, man. No, that's almost like 2,000, right? Because you got the 600 earlier. Hiley says, I have a question, but not real life. What does it take for a state to say no more federal in Gmod? I don't know what Gmod is.
It's a sandbox game that lets you build contraptions and things like that. It's a game that's not as well referenced anymore. Minecraft kind of stole its thunder.
Nice.
A little bit. Different games technically, but.
Katie Z says, I doubt he's above 30. Hiley says, at what point do we wall off California and New York, but we take the ports?
We don't need their ports. We've got Florida, Texas, parts of the Northwest and Northeast.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, Jersey's one of the biggest ports in the world. Newark, New Jersey.
Yeah. And Virginia. Virginia's huge.
Yep, Newport News.
Yeah, Katie says the same thing. We don't need their ports. We have Florida. Hiley says, nice 40K, CWal.
Yep. Gork and Mork. Ork.
Let's see. Katie Z says, I hate her voice. Repeal the 19th. Highleaf says, but if we secure the highways and ports in California with heavy armed guards, we can make the ports work.
Highleaf, we don't need them. Stop overthinking it. We love you like a brother, man, but Jesus.
Oh, he just wants a quick path to get out to Hawaii. That's the thing.
Why would you want to go there?
He's got a friend there, remember?
Oh, God. Okay, how about this? We'll annex Cuba, remove the communists, and we'll make that the new Hawaii. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it.
Cuban people are fucking based, yo.
Yeah. Just ask DeSantis.
Even that cringy half-Cuban chick that I went out with. She was really lefty, but she was kind of based still. I think she was underground based. Just lefty because she was young.
She'll change. They always do.
Well, keep in mind, that was 10 years ago ish.
She changed.
So she
by now
probably have.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we have here? Katie Z says, I like this better than the BoomerCon patriotic commercials. It looks like they were trying to make a mix of regular commercial and then BoomerCon patriotic commercial together, because we saw the Army stuff in there. We saw the police, that kind of stuff. It seems like it was like they were trying to do the BoomerCon patriotic commercial, but with different music over the top. I mean, we can listen to it again. I still have it up.
No, do not do it. I will hack your stream.
Leibt to the Max says CWal's Cringe is very entertaining. Leibt to the Max says attack on Twiton. Also, she points out that the target audience is probably groypers who can't vote. Leibt to the Max says the spectrum of weebs. Who knew? Wakarama-san. Leibt to the Max says we need a voice filter to make her voice deeper. Katie Z says, like me, funny and annoying. Let's see. What else do we have here? Katie Z says, why can't he stop touching children? And Leibt to the Max says, why don't they stop him? Katie Z says, imagine that in one of our meetups, LOL. Leibt to the Max says, an IRL bot so the lefties can say they're screeching for protests. Leibt to the Max says, don't our phones already do this? Maybe only for ads. Highlight says, if someone puts that at the dinner table, I will see how long it takes until it breaks.
I give it 5 minutes.
Leibt to the Max says, I visited Newport News a few years ago. What a weird name for a town. And I think that's it. I think that's all we got. Let me check the main chat. Yeah, Highleaf has a random I in the chat, and I don't know why.
I, as in he's agreeing with us to take Cuba.
Ah, okay.
That I. The eyes have it.
Oh. I'm sure that he would miss his friend in Hawaii if we didn't have him there. I think we're done. What do you think?
I mean, if you just hop over here, we can get in the half track, and I think it's got 4 doors, so you know what that means.
I don't think that anything that you drive has more whores in it. I'm sorry, I know you, and I don't think that's going to be a thing.
Whatever.
I did kind of have I've never liked 4-door vehicles, but I had an inkling to buy a sedan a couple weeks ago. I don't know why.
Yeah. I mean, I drive around in a a Ford Escape, so it's a 4-door vehicle, but SUV.
Technically, I guess I have 4 doors too. They're just not 4 full doors.
Yeah.
Because I have the extended cab, but the back doors open up.
Yeah, they're like the little mini suicide doors.
Yep. So, with that, I think we're going to head out of here for the night. Thank you, everybody who came by and chatted in the live chat. The lurkers, the listeners, the people who are there, here at the beginning, the people who stayed to the end. I don't know what's wrong with you people that stayed to the end, but thank you anyway. We will be back here. I don't know what's going to come around for me coming back here at this point, because I know the jury duty's got to start off here and everything else. So I'll be planning on that. We'll get that moving going on here. Tweets and updates on the Discord on that. Otherwise, I will be back here tomorrow morning for more contemporary. So come back and hang out with me there for more of that, more news and more headlines. If you'd like to reach out to my guest, CWal, tell them where they can find you.
You can maybe find me on the Porch Boys Discord, as well as J. Edgar's Discord. I hang out in there and I knock heads together. Try to keep it very authoritative and authority-minded in there.
When's the next time
Twitter,
you're going to be...
at the Porch Boys. On Twitter, at the Porch Boys. At DA Porch Boys. BOIS. I'm occasionally on there, though mainly my fig of a co-host John is.
So go and check that out. When's the next time we're going to be live?
Tomorrow night. We're going to do a little bit of porch giving. Us, me, and the boys.
Well, that'll be fun. I guess Midget's got a little bit of a gift that's going to keep on giving too, so definitely we'll go and see that. Otherwise, we're going to head out of here for the night. Thanks everybody else who came by and chatted with us. And go check us out. If you didn't catch us live, you can catch us back on demand, YouTube and BitChute.com, or go check out the audio platform as well. And, as I always say at the end of these shows, never take the words of bloggers, podcasters, or journalists as gospel. Find all the facts and draw your own conclusions. CWal, give them a last word.
You can take my words as gospel. Put me in control. I'll fix everything.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more afraid of that than anything else. But take care, everyone.